Hi there, my name is Carl Boltzmann. Welcome back to my studio. This is my third attempt at a live deconstruction where, in this case, I'm going to be deconstructing DJ Shadow's Blood on the Motorway from his 2002 album Private Press. This is probably my favorite track from that album. Let's have a quick listen to it to begin with.
And now, eternity.
Be still now. I am with you. I am deep within you. You are at peace. You cannot be harmed. You will not suffer. Breathe deeply. Breathe in the healing love of the universe, and breathe out the sickness which has taken you. I am with you.
Now let's start with figuring out what BPM this track is. And in order to do that, what I'm going to do first, and by the way, just in case if anybody's new to what I'm doing here, which pretty much everybody would be, I am taking some of my favorite music from DJ Shadow to Portishead and Uncle and other albums and trying to recreate those tracks with the original samples. And so that's what we're going to be doing here today. And so the first thing we need to do in this case is find the BPM. And so the easiest way to do that is to find the first bass drum transient of the first hit of the first transient of the piano that comes in here. So we have a beginning point, and I'm going to put on the metronome. So it's obviously a bit quick, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit. So 115 BPM. You can probably hear it getting a bit slower there, so let's try 116, see if that fits. You can see the transients lining up here with the beat markers. So I'm going to move ahead a little bit.
In the healing love of the universe.
So the further that we get away from the beginning, the click track just gets farther and farther off. And so that means we need to slow it down a little bit. So maybe 115.8. And that's not quite right. So let's try 115.9 maybe. Okay, so that's right on. Now, if your BPM is a little bit off, the further you go in the track, it'll be noticeable. And so let's see here. So there, the BPM is completely off. So let's try 115.89. Maybe, whoops. Let's see here. Oh, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, actually, there's a break here in the middle of this track. Which almost certainly makes the, takes the BPM out of where it would have been. So, in that case, let's again take the beginning of this, where the piano comes back in here, and see if it syncs up. Okay, so the BPM is 115.9, and so that's where we're going to start from. Now, if we go to the, I'm going to bring this track back here so we can get back to the beginning of Blood on the Motorway, and let's start right at the beginning with the first sample that comes in this track.
And
Well, take off the metronome there.
and now eternity.
Okay, so that sample is from a track called Heavy Guns Industries and their track Dope on Dope from 1971. I know this is kind of a this is like almost like a comedy track in a certain way. It's just people pretending to smoke weed and talk crazy stuff.
If anyone offers you a Muggles, decline politely. Or if you were to smoke this seemingly innocent little hand-rolled cigarette, you might find yourself suffering a greater or lesser distortion of your visual and auditory perceptions. A minute might seem like an hour.
And this just goes on and on. But then right at the end of this track,
Eternity. Now and now. Eternity.
so that's obviously the part that we want. And so we're going to match that up with the shadow here. And that's where we're going to start.
And now. And now.
Okay, so he took his down a little bit, maybe 1 BPM.
And now.
Or sorry, 1 BPM. He took his down, he pitched it by 1,
And now.
maybe a bit more than 1 semitone.
And now. Eternity. And now. Eternity.
Okay, and then after that comes... And now that organ, I think, is, let's take a look here. I think it's the beginning of Offenbach and their track Edgar from 1976. Let's listen to the beginning of that. Whoops. So that sounds That sounds pretty well taken. It's not even pitch shifted, it's nothing. So it must be in the right key and everything else. But let's do a quick comparison. Okay, so that was a very easy sample. If anybody's interested in listening to that track, it is... It goes in that direction, as you can imagine. Okay, so let's move on now to the piano that comes in here. And the piano is from this track here. The piano is from Thomas F. Brown and their track, It's Coming. So because there are so many different notes here at the beginning, it gave Shadow a number of options with what to do, and he does change up the piano notes as the song goes on. But in the meantime, let's find out what pitch he used and put them in the right order and try to recreate what he made here. So first thing I'm going to do is match them up and see if there's anything here. Looks like he didn't do anything as far as pitch shifting. Maybe it's a little bit sharp. And there's some EQing going on. He definitely took some high end out as well. Okay, so let's find the second note. Looks like it's right there. So we'll just put that in there. And we're going to have to move this note because the rhythm changed a little bit. The pianist on Thomas F. Brown's It's Coming got a bit slower as they played this phrase. All right, let's find the next note. I have to go back for that one. I think that's it. Okay. I kind of cut that a bit too soon. Sound like the attack on this note wasn't quite there. And then the second note, we're going to again have to cut and match up. And then we have to find the last two notes here. Looks like they're right there, so we'll just cut that and paste it in. Okay, so we have our main loop. Now, like I said before, he does switch this phrase around as the song goes on, but so there's a couple differences, and one is definitely the EQ. So I'm just going to quick throw on an EQ here and take away a bit of the high end to try to match his. It's a little bit too much, but okay, that's not too bad. I'm gonna give back a bit of the high end there again. Anyway, that's close enough. So we have our main loop. Now let's keep listening to Blood on the Motorway.
Be still now. I am with you. I am deep within you. You are at peace. You cannot be harmed. You will not suffer. Breathe deeply. Breathe in the healing love of the universe, and breathe out the sickness which has taken you. I am with you.
So there's a sample that comes in there, and it's from, now I should say that the voice sample with the man talking, I'm not sure where that sample is from, so I cannot recreate that, unfortunately, or I cannot sample that one. But there's sort of this, how would you even describe it?
Breathe in the heat.
That sound in the background. It also comes in here. It's kind of like a keyboard with a lot of delay on it, like a very 70s organ. Anyway, that sample comes from the band Illustration and their track Distant from 1970. So let's get to the business of sampling that keyboard.
Breathe in the healing love of the universe, and breathe out the sickness which has taken.
It's a pretty harsh noise. But the first thing you can hear is that the pitch is definitely going to come down. So let's find that pitch. I put it down to 2 semitones there.
Of the universe.
No, maybe 1 semitone.
Of the universe.
Now, another thing I'm going to quickly do is, well, a couple things. I'm going to make it mono. We're going to use the right channel. And I'm going to take away some of that really harsh high. I can just roll off the high end.
And breathe out the sickness which has taken you. I
that's
am
about
with
right. Okay. So let's mute his and see if we can find out. Like when it comes in, where it comes in here.
You will not suffer. Breathe deeply. Breathe in the healing love of the universe, and breathe out the sickness which has taken you.
Honestly, that sounds pretty good to me. It comes in right there.
You will not suffer. Breathe.
I'm pretty happy with that, so I'm just going to cut out the rest of the track here and figure out when the sample ends.
I am with you.
Which is right there. Okay. Now this keyboard that comes in here, this is kind of like an analog synthesizer. He probably grabbed it from I don't know. I mean, it could be from anywhere. It could even be a Kraftwerk sample. Could be a Mother Mallard sample. I checked a couple things, but I wasn't able to find exactly where it's from. And so I think what I'm gonna do here with this keyboard sample is we're gonna have to recreate it, or at least do our best to recreate it. So I'm gonna open up a MIDI track here, and the first thing I'm gonna do is, I think anyway, is I'm going to play those notes just on the keyboard, so I have like a rough idea of what I'm trying to replicate. So we're gonna take this first one here, and what I'm doing is
With you.
So I'm basically just trying to get these MIDI notes to be whatever he sampled, and then we're gonna find something that sounds similar. And so I think those go there. We'll find out soon. And the thing is these kind of analog synthesizers, I think it's gonna be probably a bass sound that is pitched up, would be my guess. And so, and I'm just gonna use Ableton's instruments here. I'm not gonna get too fancy. But yeah, let's start with analog synth, and I'm pretty sure it's a bass that is pitched up. So let's just try this and see how it sounds. Not that pitched up, so let's bring that down 2 octaves. Okay. So that's definitely not the sound, but I think we're on the right track, so... Okay, that's actually fairly close. Or it's closer. So let's mess around with this synth a little bit. Let's change the attack. Let's change the attack to fit his a bit more. I'm gonna detune this a little bit as well. Okay, now there's definitely why do I keep doing that? There's definitely a stereo widener on his, or it was recorded in stereo more than likely. So I'm gonna throw a stereo faker on this. And we're going to also throw in a reverb, just a very simple, just a simple reverb. Take the decay down, up the highs, low cut. And then I'm gonna throw a saturator on this. Throw it before the reverb. To give it some character. I think that matches his a bit better. And then I'm gonna use this Eventide split EQ that I just got the other day. And what this allows you to do is to EQ transients and the tonal qualities of anything. So in this case, I want the transients to better match what he has. And his high transients are pretty expressive, and so, but some of the tonal qualities are a bit different here. That's definitely not too bad. We'll have to hear it with the mix. Okay, and actually let's continue this phrase here. Okay. That's not too bad. It's not nearly as good as Shadows, obviously, but yeah, his has much more kind of recorded character. But this isn't too bad. Okay, now let's move on and find the next sample, which I do believe is a bass that comes in here. And same thing goes here, where what we're going to do is throw in a MIDI bass and just replicate that. Kind of the same thing I did with Uncle's Rabbit in Your Headlights, where it's just, that's kind of all you can do, basically. I mean, I could play a bass too, but this is obviously a lot easier to not have to play bass. And so, yeah, let's throw that on. And it replicates it really, honestly, very well. So, it is, let's see here, not that. Okay, that comes in here. Turn that down a little bit. And we'll do that. I doubles that up. So actually, first thing I'm going to do here is he basically has no highs whatsoever in his bass. So I'm just going to take those out immediately with an EQ. Okay, and then we're going to throw a compressor on this as well. Now, as far as the bass in this, he likely, I mean, almost everything in this track is sampled, which actually kind of surprised me a little bit when I was initially doing this, because like even the vocals that come up, they're I always assumed that he had somebody sing on this track, but he didn't. He sampled those vocals, which is pretty nuts. Yep, that last note was not right. So the next sample to come in there are those bells. And I read an interview with Shadow where he talked about that sample, and you know, the more that I do these and the more I read about Shadow and his method of finding records and things, a lot of the really obscure stuff that he found that nobody else had before came from like high schools and universities recording their kind of recitals. And they would record their recitals, make enough copies for like the band members and the band members' families and that kind of thing. And then, of course, inevitably these things end up, you know, kind of being recycled or, you know, ending up in the basement of people's houses. And then eventually they would end up in the basement of record shops, and Shadow would find these. And so he mentioned that this sample with the kind of the handbells that are being rung here came from some high school recording, basically some high school concert. And so obviously I don't have that, but what I did do, and this probably won't work, but what I did do is I went ahead and sampled some different bell ringing stuff online. And I'm just going to see if I can kind of come close to what he has here. I doubt I will be able to, because the quality of some of these is pretty bad, but we're just going to give it a shot. See, I don't think I can use that one, unfortunately, because there's a dude talking in it. But I'm going to keep going. All right, let's just try taking one of these, and we'll see if we can match anything. Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna work. Doesn't hurt to try, though. Let me try this one. It's actually a bit closer than I was expecting this. You know. Fortunately, that last note sounds a bit crunchy, but this is more or less what he would have done. I guess the whole point of this is to demonstrate, you know, kind of the method that he would have used here. Obviously, his sample is much cleaner because wherever he got it, it probably wasn't that much manipulation to be done. That sounds so janky. But just for shits and giggles, I'm going to EQ this a little bit more. And I'm going to throw a reverb on this as well. And we'll just, I don't know, we'll call it a day on that one. I'm actually pretty impressed with how those bells came through. I like how his are a little bit out of tune on that third note, which mine doesn't really have. Anyway, so let's get into, now that we have this, we have the bass, we have the bells, the keyboard, the main piano. Now I'm going to get into what is honestly the craziest part of this track to me is the vocal sample.
Have not betrayed your ideals betrayed you. What are you gonna do? Your eyes will not close, your tongue barely speaks, but I can still feel you
So those vocals are from Mark Z and their track It's Easy from 1983. Now, I couldn't find really almost any information on this artist, but this is a completely a cappella track. There is only vocals.
It's easy. It's like breathing. It's like a heartbeat. It's easy.
You have not betrayed your ideals. Your ideals betrayed you. What are you gonna do? Your eyes will not close. Your tongue barely speaks. But I can still feel you. I can still feel you. Come, relax. Grin and let the changes in. Come on, relax. Grin. Let the laughter begin. Well, come on, relax. Grin. Let the changes in. Come on.
Like, it is so like Shadow to find, you know, some completely obscure track where a dude is singing on it and to put it so seamlessly with, you know, with these other samples that he's found.
Have not betrayed your ideals. Your ideals betrayed you.
You know, it's funny too, because I've always found this track to be like, you know, it is one of my favorite ones from Private Press, but it is right on the edge of being almost too cheesy. Like I love it, you know, but it's that fine line with the piano and the strings and everything else. So anyway, and actually these vocals as well, but it all still kind of works together in a very DJ Shadow sort of way.
Have not betrayed. Have not betrayed.
So the vocals are gonna have to come down a little bit. I don't think it's quite a full semitone.
Have not betrayed your ideals. Your ideals.
And it looks like he's chopped them up. So I'm just gonna go ahead here and match as I always do.
Your ideals betrayed you.
His transients and ours.
Have not betrayed your ideals. Your ideals betrayed you.
So it looks like he pretty actively chopped these up actually to fit, which is totally fine.
Your ideals betrayed.
I mean, this wasn't sung for this song, so.
Betrayed you. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Your eyes will not close. Your tongue, your eyes will not close. Will not close.
Yeah, there's a lot more chopping here than I would have expected, to be honest with you, but
Eyes will not close.
again, not that there's anything wrong with that, but
Close. Will not close. Will not close. Your tongue barely speaks. Your tongue barely speaks. But I can still feel you. But I can still feel you. I can still feel you. I can still feel come relax. Grin, let the changes in. Come on, come. I can jazz in. Come on, relax. Grin, let the laughter begin. Well, come on, and still feel used. Come relax. Grin, let the changes in.
Okay, so I'm just gonna build this up a little bit more here, and then we'll start talking about the drums.
Your eyes will not close. Your tongue.
So that's where the bass comes in.
Eyes will not.
So we're gonna match that here with our bass.
Eyes will not close. Eyes will not close. Your tongue barely speaks, but I can still feel you. I can still feel you. Come relax.
I think he also has that illustration sample in there. What do you guys think of that keyboard sound?
I can still feel you.
I remember when I first heard it in 2002, I was not all that enamored with it, but it's kind of grown on me since.
I can still feel you. Come. I can still feel you. Come relax. Grin, let the changes in.
Okay, let's get that. I think that's where the bells come in.
Changes in. Come on, relax. Come on, relax. Grin. Let the laughter begin. Well, come on, relax. Grin.
Okay, now let's talk about the drums that come in here. So those drums are from Charlie Musselwhite and their track Louisiana Fog. Or when I first heard this track, like, you know, it's a very long track and it has its ups and downs, but I always knew that there was going to be a very shadowed drum beat that was going to come in. And there was. Yeah, there's just something about the qualities of the creativity of the drum loops that he finds and uses. They always have so much soul behind them too. So there's a couple of things here. I think he uses the first loop but then there's a roll right here before it loops around. I think that roll comes from the second, right there. So first things first, let's go ahead and find the first transient here, first bass drum. And I think he has this pitched up a little bit. Definitely. So let's go up a semitone. Okay, so it's a little bit less than a semitone, looks like maybe. Judging by where the transients land. It looks like he might, no, things are, well, things might be moved around a little bit here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to make sure that we match what he has. And what we're also going to do is take this roll here and the bass drum, I think, as well. At the very least, the roll. In fact, this bass drum might be subbed in at the beginning here, too. No. But this drum loop is going to loop around. And I'm going to leave that in there. I think, anyway, that doesn't quite match. Let's move this over. Maybe what I'll do actually is blend these two samples. Yeah, that's better. And we'll start at the beginning here. And that's basically what he's working with here from Charlie Musselwhite's Louisiana Fog. He does change it up in his DJ Shadow way. He'll like loop the snare around a few times in bass drum. But that's basically. So I should say actually that the notes actually change up here. So let's find the actual right notes here. Like the chord progression switches up. Okay, so what we're gonna do. make sure we have the right bass line. We do, okay. So we're gonna work on okay, so this is the one we need to find within this loop. So let's do it. Doom doom. There it is. So I'm just going to chop that up and we'll add that to our loop over here. Oh, I thought it was. Or maybe that's the last note. Okay, so that's the note for that, and then we'll just keep going and find that last one. He might have actually pitch shifted this last note because I'm not sure that I can find it there. And in that case, and it's actually fairly similar to this one. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try something here. We're gonna consolidate this and going to change the way that it pitch shifts so it doesn't stretch, or yeah, okay. There's that note. So I think it's possible that DJ Shadow actually pitch shifted this last note from what I'm just discovering right here. Which is kind of the fun of doing these deconstructions. You find out some little details like that. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to throw this together with the bass and the drums. And then what we'll do is there's a string part that is also happening here. I mean, there's a lot of parts going on. So the strings come from Franco Battalio and their track Gli Uccelli or Uccelli from 1981. And it's a very cheesy 80s track. Like Italian 80s track. So you can move along in this track and see where it goes.
Migrano gli uccelli e migrano con il cambio di stagione. Giochi di aperture alari che nascondono segreti.
I got a bit funkier than I was expecting. Anyway, let's take these strings and see how they match up here with the end of Blood on the Motorway. That's actually kind of insane. I don't need to pitch shift this. I don't need to stretch it. I don't need to do anything to it. I do need to compress it and EQ it to make it kind of fit a bit better, but that's shocking. So, you know, it's times like these where I wonder when DJ Shadow made this track and he just put these strings over top of it and it fit perfectly. Like, what was he thinking when that happened? That's so rare for that to happen. Like, it's almost impossible. So, yeah, you can hear how there's a certain bass note in those strings, so you have to get rid of some of the bass. Otherwise, that initial bass note doesn't quite fit. So, just EQ out that bass. And throw some reverb on there. Now these drums could use, I think, some compression and EQ. Now there's some kind of drum analog that DJ Shadow always puts his drums through, and it definitely involves pumping up the bass drum big time, like around 200 hertz, 100 to 200 hertz. I'm gonna take out the low end here, below 50 hertz. Now that lead line that's happening in the background, that's going like do 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 do. I have no idea what sample that is, unfortunately. I wish I could add that to this track because in so many ways that's what kind of fills out the end of this track here. Yeah, so that's too bad that that sample is unfound. But what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna throw in so Mark Z's or Mark Z's It's Easy, the vocals here at the end. Let's find out where that is.
Come on, relax. Let the laughter bring. Let the changes.
There it is. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because in this recording, those claps and snaps, you can't take those out, obviously. And so, you know, this was never going to be a perfect deconstruction because there were too many missing samples, unfortunately. But that's just kind of my crack at putting this back together in some kind of form. And I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you like this track. It is, like I said, I think it's my favorite one from Private Press. But let me know if you like a different track from Private Press better. I know DJ Shadow, he said that it didn't sound as though he was all that fond of this track, to be honest with you. It sounded like he knows that it's a fan favorite and he'll play it at shows, but he doesn't really care that much about this track. Or maybe he does, but that's what I read into in the interviews that I was reading. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.